So now that we can be certain that at least some things are happening behind the scenes with A Nightmare on Elm Street regarding the rights, I think it's time I tell you guys where I think it should go from here and what I want to see next. What's up, everybody? It's Nick here from the Lost River Drive-In, and as you know, I am the Halloween guy. That's what people know me as. That's what people know me for. That's the most viewed video on my channel, is my Halloween collection video from 2012, I think, when I was a teenager. So, yeah, things have changed a bit since then. But I'm a big horror fan. And being a big horror fan, I love Freddy Krueger. I love the A Nightmare on Elm Street series. It's probably my second favorite. Probably. Like, I'd really have to think about it. I've done this a million times. We're not going to get into this conversation right now. But I love Freddy Krueger. I love the movies. I love the character. I'm even a fan of the remake, and I've said that many times. No, it is nowhere near the top end of the franchise, but I enjoy it quite a bit, and I'm not ashamed to say that. As most of you know, a couple weeks ago, rumors started circulating. I even covered it on my channel about what is happening with A Nightmare on Elm Street, about how there's a bidding war going on, apparently, and yada yada, and someone wants to make a movie and all this. Well, come to find out that the reality of that story is literally just that. There is a bidding war going on, or one that just closed, and we just don't have the details on it yet. So clearly there are multiple studios that have an interest in reviving this property. So with that being a fact, just knowing that somebody's trying to do this, there's going to be another project sooner or later, whether it's a movie, a TV series. I really hope it's a movie, but we know there's going to be another project soon coming down the pipe. From who, we don't know. When, we don't know, but soon. So where should the series go from here? Now, as you guys heard me say, and you've probably heard me talk about many times, I'm a fan of the remake. I enjoyed the remake a lot, mainly for I loved its aesthetic. I love Jackie Earle Haley in the role, although he is no Robert, and the CGI did not do him any favors. And I really liked Katie Cassidy and Kyle Gallner. I thought overall the movie is a really fun watch. Like, it's a good time. I really do think it's a good time. It is very, like, peak Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay era horror remake, but, like, I have a soft spot for that because that was, like, my formative years, you know, my preteens and stuff. So I just remember seeing all these movies in theaters and being like, wow, this is gnarly, this is fun. But having said that, I unfortunately think that side of the story needs to die. And I think where they should go from here is pretty cut and dry for me.
It needs to die. It needs to die.
Look, the remake's almost 15 years old, which is wild to think about. A Nightmare on Elm Street really hasn't had a movie that did well critically and with the fan base since like 2003, and even then that was shared with Jason. So I think with A Nightmare on Elm Street, you got to totally reboot it. And what I mean by that is not remake in the sense of let's have a new Nancy Thompson, let's have the exact story play out from the original film. No, I think you need to reboot it. Almost similar to what like Halloween Returns was going to be, where it's almost like we know of the character because of the previous movies and stuff like that, but it's a totally new story with new protagonists, with the same antagonist, the same town, but not connected whatsoever to anything that's happened before. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to go the requel route, and while I don't blame them for that, because that is absolutely what's popular right now, and if I'm being totally honest with you, I would absolutely go see it, like 100%. I would not be against a requel. I just personally don't want to see it go there above all else. Like, Nancy Thompson is not Laurie Strode, not Sidney Prescott. She's only gotten 3 movies, and only 2 of which where she was really strong and definitely the pull of the movie. In the original, Heather was a young actress, and although I don't dislike her in the role, she really came into her own in Dream Warriors, and then especially in New Nightmare. But I just don't think you should do that. I think beating this dead horse of these requels, I think it is counterproductive to what you want to see if you're a fan of the series, because it essentially gives it a limited, timeline, a limited lifespan. there's only so much you can do because these people are old. You're continuing a previous story. So you're basically saying, hey, this expiration date is coming up pretty soon. Whereas if you reboot this, you cast an unknown for Freddy Krueger or somebody that does, character monster type work like that really well. You can keep this going for 20, 30 years. You can restart a new series in the franchise of A Nightmare on Elm Street. You could have a modern day Freddy tale that goes on movie after movie and makes a lot of money and brings a ton of new fans into the series. I just think it's what you need to do. As much as I loved the announcement of Halloween 2018 with Jamie Lee coming back and really just getting the gang back together, looking back on it in hindsight, it does kind of bother me now because I'm like, that told me that there was an expiration date that was right around the corner. That told me that, hey, we'll make a few movies maybe, but then it's going to lie dormant again until somebody decides, okay, we need to bite the bullet and just reboot it. I'd rather reboot and just go from there. Like, we need to stop pushing off the inevitability of rebooting these franchises and these characters. Like, it's got to happen eventually. A lot of these actors from these original movies are going to die soon. They're just older. And if we are just beholden to them, then we're never going to get anything for decades. And by then, will anybody care? So what I want to see A Nightmare on Elm Street do moving forward is just that. Reboot, cast new people, tell a new story, and build the potential for multiple films over decades to bring a new generation in. That's what I want to see. But I will say, I would absolutely watch a requel, and I would absolutely watch a sequel to the remake. But a sequel to the remake is not going to happen. A requel is probably the most likely, but I want to see a reboot. That's what I want to see. Now, as far as an update with A Nightmare on Elm Street, interestingly enough, it seems like Warner Brothers actually might be retaining the rights, which is kind of wild because for the longest time, it didn't seem like they gave two shits. And like, some people might go, well, I can't blame them. They have The Conjuring. But like, what? New Line is the house that Freddy built. Like, Freddy in the 80s was easily the most marketable, easily the most profitable of the big three. Like, he was breaking through on MTV and stuff. Like, he was a cultural phenomenon. The fact that any company would see those rights and go, yeah, we don't really want those, is just asinine to me. So it seems like at the 11th hour, Warner Brothers is all in. We'll see who ends up getting them if these aren't already done. I mean, I did hear two conflicting things. I heard one that it's not finalized, and I heard one the other day that Warner Brothers did get the rights back. So we'll see. Does kind of worry me, though, if Warner Brothers does, because they sat on them for a while and didn't do anything. So maybe they just want to sit on them again. I mean, I genuinely have no idea what they would want to do with that. But, yeah, that's what I'd like to see from A Nightmare on Elm Street moving forward. But I want you guys to comment down below and let me know what you want to see from this franchise moving forward. Do you want a requel? Do you want a remake? Do you want a sequel to the remake? I almost said rebate because sometimes I talk faster than my mouth can keep up with my brain, and it's just all drivel and nonsense. But you're still here, aren't you? Some of you are. What am I doing? I just want to say to the inevitable comments that I'm going to get about, no, this is what they need to do. They need to let it die. You know, it's been beat to death. Just leave Freddy alone. Blah, 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 blah. Don't tarnish the legacy. Guys, this is the way I look at it. Very cut and dry, very simple. No matter what movie they make based off of a character that you love, it is not going to tarnish the legacy of that original film or those other sequels that you love. They still exist. You can still watch them. They're never going to go anywhere. Making new movies does not take away from those movies. Furthermore, when you make new iterations of these iconic characters, you bring new generations in that allow characters like Michael, Freddy, and Jason to live on for hundreds of years, from generation to generation, like the Universal monster movies. But honestly, we're getting to a point where I think Michael, Jason, and Freddy might be bigger because Dracula's had two swings at it this year from Universal. And yeah, poor marketing, and I don't think it says anything about the quality of the film, but people just aren't showing up for it. They're just not. But you put out a Michael movie, a Jason movie, a Freddy movie, they're going to show up for it. They're going to make money, even if everyone hates them. Except you. I love you, and I don't care what they say. I just don't. They don't understand us. So yeah, I'm all for expanding the fan base. I'm all for keeping these things alive and well for years and years to come. And I don't think it hurts anybody because we have a lot of great original horror movies out right now and just films in general. They're all over the place. You just have to go seek them out. You have to go give your money to them. Don't complain about there not being anything original because there very, very much are original ideas. And I'm tired of hearing to the contrary, that they just don't exist because it's not true. You're just not going to watch them. We have the best of both worlds when we have original content and faithful content to existing IPs that are so well loved, that keep them living for generations. There's no downside there. Everybody wins. But comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. Thank you so much. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out before everybody gives me shit about liking Nightmare 2010.